Today, I'm going to be going over the trade recap of today, why I took my trade, etc. Why exactly did price dump down? Well, I'm pretty sure people thought price was going to pump up. As you can see, we're in a CRT. We're in a candle range. I trade CRT, and the CRT is basically just candle and ranges. And as you can see, we have MES and MNQ. So first off, as you can see, if you're familiar with trading at all, you are familiar. I'm assuming that you are familiar with SMT. And SMT essentially is when one asset completes something or does something, typically or assuming you would assume the other asset would not do that. So let me explain that a little bit better if you're confused. When day trading, when trading stocks in general, we have pairs. So the pair that I trade is Nasdaq and the S&P 500. So you can, consider them, essentially like siblings, like brother and sister or cousins, so to speak. And as you can see, in this range, you know, and just to preface this, I look at the daily time frame. I know a lot of people they typically focus on like the 1 minute time frame, 5 minute, they go super low down. But to really get the full bias, and in my opinion, to make the most money, long term trading, you have to look at the higher time frame. You have to look at the higher time frame bias, because if you're just scalping, if you're just you know trading the lower time frames, you can't really see anything, because trade like this the time frames are so huge once you scale up, so you can miss a lot of things. You can go long when the bias is sells, and you can short when the bias is long. So I go from the higher time frame down to the lower time frame. So as you can see, and honestly, and my markings, they're honestly going to change up a little bit. But I just wanted to record this. This is just the bias that I have today. But I genuinely predict that price will continue to go lower. And if go back, and I encourage you to go back and watch my previous video. I said that I predict that this candle range low on the daily time frame would be the target, and the 50% key level daily would be the target, which we didn't hit necessarily. But price dumped down a lot to the target which I predicted, and price continued to sell as I predicted. So going back to SMT, that we had a bearish SMT, and bearish SMT is basically where one asset takes the range high and then dumps, while the other asset fails to take the range high. As you can see, people longing, since we're all-time highs, people probably thought that we were going to continue to go higher, but no, price on the S&P 500, price failed to go higher. Price failed to take this range high, while price on M and Q did. And since they're and both of these assets, are heavily correlated. You know, heavily correlated. So my mindset is, okay, M and Q took this range high, MES didn't. MES is failing to. I'm going to short because I'm predicting, that price is going to continue to go high, you know. And when you see SMT, it's basically one asset class sending another asset class, so called a signal. So the signal that MNQ sent MES was, okay, we went higher already. Okay, MES decided to just go ahead and just short, and this candle range high essentially is a resistance level. This is the major, key level resistance level, you know, that we were using. As you can see, this candle went way higher. So yeah, and so let's go down. Let's continue to go down. Work our way down to the lower time frames. And as you can see, I marked another CRT. I marked another CRT as well. And this big green up close candle was a huge, CRT that you can use as well. So look at this as well. Um, as you can see, when the 6 a.m. 4 hour candle on MES, opened up. On MQ, we were already above the range high, but MES, went above, essentially triggered it and then dumped. And then as you can see, we have another SMT. We have another, bearish SMT as well, where MNQ went above this range high, and guess what? MES didn't. And we had a resistance level with this candle as well. You know, and then guess what? Price tanked. The price went, all the way from up here to down here. And you may think, and on MNQ, we didn't go that far down. We went far down, but not super super far down. But I generally predict that. I think that price could continue to go down. And looking at the 1 hour, same thing. Price just distributed all the way down. Distributed all the way down. On M and Q, we didn't see that much distribution. So yeah, this is just a trade recap, and I'll go back to my trade as well. I'll get this a little bit out. Sorry. So let me go back to my trade. As you can see, this resistance level, and something that I've learned over my time of trading, when price does something at a specific resistance level, a bearish key level, or how whatever trading strat you use, you expect it to do the same thing. Expect it to do the same thing. So price sold right here, price went and popped up above, sold again, and price hit it again and then sold again. So always expect price to be doing the same thing. And yeah, this was where's my trade at? Oh, my trade was right here. I entered in it at the 9:30 opening candle. Price popped up, and then price went down. Price was giving some good bearish moves, and then as you can see, price popped back up, hit this resistance level again, hit this bearish key level again, and then boom, and then dumped the rest of the day. So yeah, it was a pretty long trading day. Normally I would expect to not be in a trade like that long. Sometimes it happens, especially when you're trading, with two contracts. You're going to be sometimes you could be in a trade, for multiple hours, for a few hours. Like I was today, almost was in a trade for 4 hours. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes a key lesson and a key takeaway in that is you have to be patient when you're trading. Sometimes your trade isn't always going to go to TP, or it's not always going to go to your stop loss. And that's where a lot of traders they have trouble, managing their emotions, managing the stress because at that point, when you're just fluctuating, when your trade is just fluctuating, going up and down without necessarily hitting your TP or stop loss, it's that what if, it's just you keep thinking you're like, should I exit? Oh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? When all reality you have to do, is just patiently wait. You can't force the markets to speed up. You can't force them to even slow down. You have to essentially just flow with the markets. So this was a trade recap of today. For any of my CRT NORs, candle one, candle two, candle three. I kind of would consider this candle three, kind of, kind of, you know. But honestly, I think I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change my drawings, my markups a little bit more. But yeah, we'll see. What happens tomorrow. You know, so all we gotta do is just see and wait. The Asia session is gonna open up. Asia session is about to open up in about what 39 minutes. Yeah, 39 minutes. Asia session is about to open. I don't trade Asia session. I used to trade Asia session a lot, but I pretty much stopped trading it. Pretty much, and I just been sticking to New York session because that's where I see the most results. You know, I see the most results trading Asia. I mean, excuse me, I see the most results trading New York session. So yeah, this is a trade recap of Monday's trading day, August 17th, 2026. Day trading, um, micro Nasdaq MNQ. The bias was clearly sells. Uh, I, yeah, clearly sells. The bias was clearly sells. This price dumped a lot. I'm pretty sure a lot of people. I know this tricked a lot of people. I know a lot of people bought, but when the main bias, is something, you can't go against it. I know this tricked a lot of people. So yeah, this is all for